Welcome to the Private Lenders Podcast with your hosts from Hard Money Bankers, Jason Balin and Chris Haddon. This podcast is sponsored by hardmoneymastermind.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Private Lenders Podcast. We appreciate you being here. Real quick, if you haven't done so already, check out hardmoneymastermind.com to find out about everything going on inside our community. There is the online community of 2,700 private lenders, and then also learn about the live events and other stuff that we have going on, hardmoneymastermind.com. Okay, today we're talking about the DISC personality profile, a tool that we have been using for a long time. And we've applied it in a couple different ways to the private lending business, but it didn't start there. Jason and I each learned DISC early in our career, shortly after college, independently in different ways. But both of us learned it from a sales context, learning about the different personality types and how to adapt to them in order to present and close in a way that works for that particular personality. It is a very, very useful tool. And then fast forward some years, we had done real estate deals, real estate investing type stuff. We were in mortgage lending, and then we were starting HMB. And then we figured out, oh, we have the skill set with DISC that we can apply to the hard money lending business in a couple different ways. We're going to dive into that today.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are aware of DISC personality assessments, DISC personality types, and you can figure out a way to kind of master it and understand it, you have such an edge over everybody else. You know, when it's coming to working with borrowers, working with capital investors, obviously being aware, you know, what you are. You are DI, CS, you know, D is dominant, obviously, I influencer, C conscientious, S steadiness. Because let's use an example. And this can be borrower or investor, doesn't really matter, or co-lender, doesn't really matter. But like, if you're a dominant personality type, which most business owners are, and you're dealing with like a C personality, like you need to be very, very cautious or you will scare the crap out of them, right? If you're like, yeah, man, yeah, we'll just do it, no problem, blah, 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 and you're very broad, they'll be scared of you, right? Like they need more details. They need more facts. They need more time to kind of think through this. They're a little bit more analytical. On the other side, if you're an analytical type of person and you write and you know, you're whatever, you're very organized with things and you spend a lot of time, attention to detail, and you're dealing with a dominant personality that just wants the quick facts, they'll never adapt to you because, you know, ultimately, as a C personality type, you're going to document lots of things over and over and over. You might write a laundry list book about them. A D personality is going to look at that and be like, what the hell is all this crap? I don't have time for this. I'll get back to this later. So D's and C's can clash if you know, things aren't kind of organized correctly. So understanding all of these things is important, because if you're dealing, even if you're a D personality type, right, and you're dealing with an analytical type of person, you've got to treat them differently than another D type personality. You might have to spend a little bit more time, a little bit more attention to detail, kind of go through all the facts, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with all of that. It's just understanding it. I think too many hard money lenders clash with their borrowers or their capital investors just because they're communicating in different languages.
Right.
This is a language that you have to adapt to. So let's break down some borrower stuff. Let's break down some best practices for maybe working with some co-lenders. Do you want to start with co-lenders and I'll do some borrower stuff? How do you want to do this?
I have a couple questions for you because I know you know this stuff pretty well, and I'm curious about the borrower side of things, since that's not what I do day in and day out. So you talked about the D, the dominant personality type. I want to ask a question about I. So I stands for influencer, which is kind of funny that's called influencer now that that's such a common term in social media world. But anyway, influencer, just to give a quick definition for everyone, is your salesy type, you know, like life of the party, talker, very fun, cool person to be around, but oftentimes kind of flaky and like really light on follow-up. How do you handle I personality types in borrowers?
Well, it's a good question, because like they usually can back themselves against a wall. And if you look out for these signs, it'll make it easier for you because like, oh yeah, I've been doing this. I've been doing this. I've been doing this. I own this many properties, right? Like, oh yeah, like I used to be the biggest rehabber in the area, whatever the case is, right? So you call them out on it and be like, oh really? No problem. That sounds awesome. I actually know that area as well. You know, what are some of the addresses that you purchased in the past, right? So they're like, well, I didn't really own any of them. I just helped them renovate them. I was like the consultant. Like, okay, well, which deals were they? I can look them up. I can see if you did good on them. So usually you can just, I don't want to say shut them down because that's not necessarily the goal. There's obviously some good borrowers that are high personalities that, just might be unorganized, that, still can put out a decent product. But in essence, just try to turn all talk into facts. And, cool. What's some of the information? Like, what are some of the details that you have done? Hey, if I can lend you $200,000, can you bring $80,000 to the table? So, oh yeah, no problem. Be like, do you have a bank statement that can verify that? Have you done past deals? So I think it's just the verification process. Like, don't just take their word for it. Sometimes you're talking to borrowers over the phone, and you can just get a sense that they've got everything buttoned up. Like, hey, I bought this property. Hey, this. You're online. You're fact checking some of the stuff. And it's just buttoned up. There's just matter of fact, and you get it. And there's some that are just all over the place. Like, oh yeah, I'm a mortgage broker. I flip real estate. I'm an appraiser. Oh yeah, I lend money. Yeah, I'm a private money lender as well, right? Like, it's just everything. So it's just calm them down and just fact check some of that stuff. That's to me the easiest way to, like, in the nicest manner, call them out on it and just fact check it and take control of the conversation. But I think when you do that, it's like, oh yeah, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so. Like, if you're around here long, if you've been in this game long enough, who's kind of telling the truth and who's not. And I think if you just ask for facts for it, it makes your life easier. It's like, cool. What was the last deal you did? Oh, well, it wasn't, the last deal was actually in 2019. I flipped 100 properties, but, nothing recently. Oh, no problem. What the property you said that you're buying, where's it located? So I guess it's somewhat what you said. Just kind of, shaking it down and simplifying it into the actual facts to see if the deal makes sense or not. If that's where you're getting at.
Yeah, just something I thought about. It's interesting we can hop back and forth, but over on the co-lender, the investor side, don't deal with I personalities that much, kind of not part of the equation. C personalities, we don't target in terms of co-lender stuff, but we do have some C personality types in the mix, and they need, that's the analytical personality type. They need a certain level of detail and information on a regular basis, and that's okay. That's part of the job of investor relations. And C's are funny too, because I feel like C's think that everyone should be like them, that they're doing it right and everyone else is doing it wrong. Which is kind of funny. But yeah, like you might have heard us say before, that we do focus on the D and the S. The dominant personality type tend to be a lot of successful people in business, various aspects of business. They're savvy operators. They tend to be busy, successful people. They're not killing you with details. They want to see that you're competent, that you're on their level, that you know what you're doing, you have all the answers. And after that, they'll let you run with it. They'll let you do your thing. They're not going to like be all over you with questions and everything else. And sometimes you don't hear from them for a long time because everything's going fine. They don't have anything to check in on. Everything is moving just like it should. In S, on that side, these tend to be more of the, some family and friends and some people who have had like support kind of roles during their career, more of a passive investor, maybe a self-directed IRA investor. And these are just really, they're high trust relationships. Like, they're not pro underwriters. They're not looking at stuff the way you do. And they really just trust you to do good deals, to do right by them. And those are great investors too. D's and S's make up the majority of our co-lenders, and they're great relationships.
I think on the borrower side, that's similar, right? Like, lenders might clash with a dominant person, an alpha dominant personality on the front end until you understand that mutual respect of like, listen,
yeah,
I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to micromanage you. Like, let's just keep this easy. Let's just go with these terms and move and just keep the ball moving forward. Because as soon as you start trying to negotiate with a dominant personality, like you're going to lose. And you're either going to cave because you don't want to deal with them anymore, or they're just going to be like, yeah, I'm not, I don't.
Yeah, you'll just clash.
It's just going to clash. It's not going to work. So it's like, hey, this is how we operate. Like we learned a long time ago, the reason that our terms don't change for anybody, they're all the same. You do the first deal with us, you do the 100th deal with us. They're all the same no matter what. The reason why is we were sick and tired of negotiating with dominant personalities early on in real estate. And if you give an inch, they ask for a mile of like, every time they come back, oh, hey, can you cut your funding fee? Can you cut your commitment fee? Can we do a half a point less? Can we do this? Can we do that? And it's like, everything's the same. And I think when we talk to, and teach our partners and other mastermind members about this, it's like, have a consistent product and have everything the same for two reasons. Number one, then you never have to worry about negotiating with anybody. It's the same thing for everybody, no matter what. It's one less thing you have to think about. And then you don't have to go back and be like, oh, well, what did I quote this person? What did I quote this person? Everything's the same. If you ask me today, or if you ask me a year ago, if you ask me from a year from now, 12, 9, 9, and 3. Yes, there's been seasons in our business over the last 18 plus years that we've changed terms as a company, right? But like we've been 12, 9, and 3 for company wide forever. We've been 12, 9, and 3 forever. And it doesn't matter if we did 100 loans for somebody or one loan for somebody. It's the same terms no matter what. It makes it easy. So like I do like dealing with dominant personalities after you get all like the ego shit out of the way, because then it's like, I was talking to you before we started this, this one borrower that we're doing a loan for that reached out to me 2 days ago. It's like, hey, I got another deal. And I need to close in 2 days. It's like, cool, no problem. We got it. Easy transaction. The first deal wasn't easy, but after we got through that, it was. So I like that, the S, the steadiness, it's the same thing. They trust you. It's a mutual relationship. It's like, hey, I got you taken care of. Tell me what you need. We'll see if we can make this thing work. And it makes it easy. The only problem sometimes with that is some of them will be timid. So you think you're on the same page, and then all of a sudden they might ghost you like a new borrower on stuff because like they don't have the guts to be like, yeah, I decided to go somewhere else, or I decided to shop around. They're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, sounds good, Jason. I appreciate it.
They avoid the confrontation of that negotiation or whatever.
But that goes back to scripting and follow up. But I will tell you that C's are hard to deal with on the borrower side. And the reason why, and you alluded to this earlier, is what's important to us is not necessarily important to them. They think what they're presenting is the most important thing. And typically all of their stuff is based on their construction budget. So like they're sending me construction budgets before we even negotiate terms or even talk through the deal. Or if I even know the property address. Oh yeah, hey, it's going to be an $80,000 construction budget. I'm going to do this. I'm like, I don't care about your construction budget at this point. Like, we're good. So like what they think is important, what we think important is not. What I think important is like, what's the property address? What are you buying it for? What is your construction budget, but not your
not itemized
Excel spreadsheet. I don't care about I don't care about your line items on your spreadsheet. I just care about, what your overall budget is. What do you think you're going to sell it for? Oh, I'm going to do this. And then like, it's just laundry list of this, and like, none of that is important. Like, hey, are you going to be able to bring $100,000 to the table? If so, great. Your construction's $80,000. Oh, well, it might be 78, 900. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I'm like, I don't care if it's $1,000 variance, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So that's always interesting with that. So anything else we leave out on the borrower side, on the investor side? I think we touched about the pros and cons of working with DI. S and C is on the borrower side, and I think on investor side as well.
I just want to repeat one thing that you said that was a good point when it comes to working with D personalities, which you're going to have a lot of on both the borrower side and the co-lender side, is the term you used of mutual respect. That's the goal right there. Once you get to mutual respect on either side, co-lender, borrower, you're going to work smoothly together. It's going to be a low maintenance relationship. You know how they work, they know how you work, and you're going to do these transactions for a profitable result for both parties, and everything's gravy. Everything's good. Get to that mutual respect with those personality types, you're going to be in a good spot. I think that was a really good point. Well said. All right, cool. Is that the pod for today? Anything else on that topic?
No, I think we're good.
I think we are good. One quick thing to mention, if you haven't done so already, check out Lender software. loan management and portfolio management software, LENDR software.com, and talk to Bryce, the founder. Mention this podcast. You'll get a discount on the setup. And we hope to see you guys here next time on the Private Lenders Podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast. Please note that the opinions stated by all the speakers on this show are only opinions and not intended for legal, financial, or accounting advice. Please make sure to always check with your own legal, accounting, and financial professionals. If you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast, we'd appreciate it if you would spread the word. Make sure to check out hardmoneymastermind.com, the #1 free community for new and experienced private and hard money lenders.